Pick three could be a realistic option for the Vikings to attain. Not only could it be a realistic option, but according to Darren Wolfson, the Minnesota Vikings have expressed interest. They've at least initiated a surface level type of conversation with the New England Patriots to inquire their interest. Would they be willing to trade down from pick number three? Darren Wolfson said on Score North, quote, down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, there was a seed planted with New England by the Vikings. I'm not suggesting that talks have advanced. It was one of those, hey, we'll circle back to you, presumably next week at the Combine in Indianapolis. But that some sort of seed was planted in terms of, hey, is there even any interest on your front to move off that number three pick? At the start of the offseason, it's been fun to talk about content wise. The Vikings, could they trade up to pick number three? But I've always held the standpoint that this is impossible. It's not going to happen. Well, the more that time goes by, it's gone from this is impossible to so you're telling me there's a chance. Things are lining up way too perfectly right now. On the Vikings front, we'll look at both parties, the Vikings and the Patriots. On the Vikings front, it's so obvious. They want a quarterback and they want a quarterback bad. They tried to trade up to take a quarterback with a high pick last year in the first round. I say it's Bryce Young because that was reported by NFL Network. A lot of you are saying it was actually Anthony Richardson from Brett Coleman, but that's not worth our energy right now. The point is, they tried to move up for a quarterback last year. They want a quarterback bad, so obviously they're going to try to trade up for a quarterback this year. On the Patriots front, Elliott Wolf is in charge of the roster. I talked about this before last week, or maybe the week before, I can't remember. He spent 14 years in Green Bay, in their front office. And the Packers' way is investing in the trenches, patience, not forcing it, putting together the most solid roster possible. They never shoot for the moon outside of quarterback. And that's another thing, too, that I didn't mention before. At the quarterback position, they don't force it. They pick a guy, he sits, he waits, he develops while they put together a heck of a team around that quarterback. So that way, when it's time for him to play, he's good. They don't rush a quarterback at all. And they never shoot for the moon for players outside of the trenches, offensive line and defensive line. Yes, Devontae Adams was a superstar, but I don't even think they planned on that happening. He was a second round pick. They invest in the trenches, they're patient, and they spend the time necessary to develop a quarterback. They don't just throw him into the fire right away. They need in addition to quarterback, they need offensive line, wide receivers, tight ends. And when you combine that with the report a couple of weeks ago that the Patriots are open to trading down from pick three, this just makes all the sense in the world. Why, if you're the Patriots and you're going to carry the Packers formula, if you're Elliott Wolf, why would you go Jaden Daniels at pick number three with no offensive line, with no pass-catching weapons to work with? Got a hell of a defense, but Jaden Daniels, he's all by himself. He's in no man's land. Why would you do that and put him in a situation where he fails? His confidence is broken. Zach Wilson out of BYU was a hell of a prospect. He's nowhere. I think his spirit is gone because they threw him right away into the fire. The Jets did. And it just hasn't worked out. I don't think I've seen the idea of, well, should the Vikings go after him or he just needs a fresh start? I don't know if you can rebuild that confidence that he had in college. What he was in college is nowhere close to what we've seen at the pro level. Why would you, if you're the Patriots, follow in the same suit as what the Jets did with Zach Wilson? You've got a long way to go. You've got so many holes to fill, and in the AFC East division, you've got to catch up to the Bills and the Dolphins, you're nowhere close to that. It actually makes more sense for a team that operates, presumably, the Patriots, that will operate, presumably, like the Packers. It makes more sense for them. We've been talking about the Vikings for uh, much of this offseason as far as trading down from pick 11. You're not going to get one of the top 3 guys. Trade down from pick 11, stockpile draft picks, take a QB later, perhaps in the first round, or maybe day 2, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., although McCarthy's getting a lot of hype, so I don't even know. I don't even trust. I don't have the confidence that I once did that he will even make it to the second round. I think at this point, he's a first round pick. But we've been talking about the Vikings in that scenario. Go D tackle, trading down from 11 to say 17 or 20, pick up a later first round pick or an additional second round pick. We've been talking about that for the Vikings. It actually makes more sense for a team like the Patriots, ran by Elliott Wolf. If they're going to run the same operation that they ran, the experience that he learned in Green Bay, working in their front office, it actually makes more sense for the Patriots to do that and draft a quarterback that has to sit and needs time to get familiar with not just the speed at the pro level, but also just getting his feet wet. You don't want to rush him in, making sure he has the right coaches in place. It considering all the holes that they had, this just seems more and more likely that this could really happen for the Vikings. That in the rest of the NFL, if you're the Vikings, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but at this point, I'm setting my sights on, all right, pick number 3 here. Pick 11 and maybe trade down. That's a worst case scenario. I'm just holding out hope. I'm just kind of waiting for it to happen. Not to say that it is going to happen, but the rest of the NFL is very aware that you are desperate for a quarterback. So if you're the Vikings and the Patriots are open to trading down from pick 3, according to Darren Wolfson, they're doing their due diligence, already have, may continue to do so at the combine next week. If that is the case, you have to make sure, because the rest of the league is aware that you're trying to trade up, that you have to be the highest bidder to make that happen. Jaden Daniels, it's just if they draft this kid out of LSU, the possibilities with this offense is endless. I don't want to get my hopes up, but if Kwesi Adofo-Mensah can pull this trade off, hey man, I'm not going to say you've cemented your legacy or anything like that, but you've made us turn the other way from all the previous mistakes. I won't talk about it again. Because at least with a move like this, trading up to get one of the top quarterbacks, and you can't necessarily, everybody gets these things wrong. Draft experts, front offices for organizations, when it comes to the quarterback position, it's not an exact science. But the point is that you went for the moon, that you tried. You did everything that you could to get this guy, to put yourself in a position to get this guy and say, all right, man, I did my job. KOC, it's all on you now. What you gonna do? I'll turn the other way from all the other mistakes and say, all right, it's a clean slate, Kwesi. Jaden Daniels, I compared him as far as his takeoff ability to Lamar Jackson. I think that's accurate. I don't think that's a stretch of an evaluation. The way he moves with his feet is like a wide receiver. Just so explosive. Get outside the pocket. And you have so much room for error when it comes to Justin Jefferson. There's a wide margin there where you don't have to be perfect, but because of how great he is as a playmaker, he'll get you those reps. He'll get you those completions. He'll move the chains for you. Jaden Daniels, man, make this happen. I don't care about losing pick 42 and making the swap after losing pick 42, and you're probably looking at 2 future first round picks, 25 and 26 gone. I say do it. Because once you're off this Kirk Cousins contract, the void year 2024, assuming that he doesn't return, to hell with those draft picks. You can sign dudes. You got cap space to do whatever it is possible. Pick number 3. Hey, the universe is lining up. Let's go.